Hello, everyone. This is Tyler, and I'm here with the Gauntlet, which, if you've watched stuff I've done before, I play with the Gauntlet a good bit. Some of the best gamers in the whole wide world. You can find us. We're on G+. We're on Facebook. You can find us at gauntlet-rpg.com. Come join us. Wonderful folks. We've got our con coming up soon. We've got a fanzine with some amazing stuff in it and some of the best gamers you'll ever find. I'm playing, running today, Monster of the Week, which is one of my favorite games ever. It's a Powered by the Apocalypse game, and kind of has that feel of the X-Files or True Blood, or it brings in a lot of cool different things. But it's monster hunters of various sorts going out there and righting wrongs and stopping the nasties that go bump in the night. And we're playing in a place called Marais, Louisiana, which is out in the middle of the swamps. Now, I'm going to get in a moment my players to introduce their characters and tell us a little bit about them. But before we start, I want to say that this is a Gauntlet game, so we have the Gauntlet inclusivity policy, which is basically that we're all here as friends. We're all here to support each other. We're all here to have fun. That's why we come to game, and that's what the Gauntlet stands for. So we're here to make all of ourselves feel comfortable and enjoy a game. Along with that, we have the X card, which, for those of you who don't know, if something gets problematic or something is just destroying your fun or something gets, just kind of digs at you the wrong way, you can do this. You can put something up in chat. You can say, hey, Tyler, I'd like to X that. And I'll rewind, reframe, and off we'll go again. If someone wishes to share something about that, we have our Google Hangout. We also have our chat bar, or we can take a moment and speak about it. But no questions no questions required. No one has to explain. It's here for our safety. It's here so we make sure we have the best time we can. And our game can be a little bloody. We've already seen some gore out there, and we've got some horror going on. We have a couple of lines and veils. We have a line on sexual assault. Just don't need it in our game. And we have a veil on harming the helpless, small children, the elderly, that sort of thing, people who have no recourse. And that's a veil in place. If we get to where we're on the edge of that, then we can have that X card if something gets in there that really bothers us. So I'm going to ask all of our players to introduce their characters, and then I'll do a quick recap. So I'm going to start down with, I think I'm going to start with you, Skylar. Why don't you introduce your character, please?
Hello, I am playing Pete Crowley. He is a member of the organization called the Fixers, and they exist out in the backwoods of Louisiana, sort of just doing things for people, but they also have a certain amount of knowledge of the arcane. They do many things that are not magical. They are dentists, animal hunters, that sort of thing. But they also, if you are having trouble with some sort of paranormal stuff, they often know what to do. So Pete he's been in the organization for a while, but he used to work with his mentor Daryl. Daryl has recently passed away, and this is his first really big thing that he's handling on his own.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Noella, introduce us to your character.
So my character is Allison Arsenault, and she is a young woman whose grandmother lives in Marais, and she kind of grew up in the city, but her mom is from Marais, and she is a recovering conspiracy theorist, and recently dropped out of college and is now back to living with her grandmother in Marais, because her grandmother has cancer and is not long for the world and needs someone to live with her. And although she is a recovering conspiracy theorist, she is still kind of under the influence of these conspiracy theories.
Maybe a lapsed on occasion recovering conspiracy theorist. All right. Thank you very much. And Leandro, introduce your character, please.
Yeah, so my character is named Silence, and they are the Divine playbook. They are basically an agent from on high, not confirming whatever on high is, sent down to Earth basically to ensure the end times come to pass. They have been around Earth for decades. In fact, they first touched down in Marais, where they befriended a young Sibylla Simone, who in later decades would turn out a family, including one granddaughter, Alison Arsenault. And Silence has kind of been part of that family as kind of the weird aunt who is always kind of around, doesn't talk much, doesn't take their tea right, always wears sunglasses indoors, really inscrutable because, they're not from this earth. They have a flaming sword. Their suit never gets rumpled. They're very blunt. And yeah, very straightforward.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And David, please introduce your character.
Hi, I'm going to be playing Cody Sanjon, a former teenage runaway and drifter in the spooky playbook. He's haunted by visions sent by a dark force that possesses him, travels around, tends to turn up to places when bad things are happening, including his most recent visit here to Marais. His has recently been marked for consumption by some form of demon, and his ability to communicate with unnatural creatures seems to be improving, which isn't necessarily very reassuring to him.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Ibars, introduce your character, please.
Hello, I'm playing Turner McCoy, which is from the Crooked playbook. Basically, he is the smuggler of this town. He smuggles moonshine, drugs, and guns, and occasionally, let's say, immigrants, and also people who want to disappear from this place. Basically, he is the most normal character in this group, considering each of them has some superpowers, and he's not. Well, that's basically it.
Alrighty, thank you very much. And I believe that we have Pete and Turner, who are cousins, distant cousins, but acquainted with each other. And poor Turner had his boat kind of screwed up in our last session, and definitely blames Pete for that to some extent, and is wanting a bit of payback for that. And we have a relationship with Cody and Allison from a bit back in the past, and then not so distant past, a little hookup when they got back into town. So a lot of little intertwinings of this crew here that has been brought together, and who I think Silence believes are kind of important for them all to be together for what's to come. Now I'm going to give a quick review of what we've done in our last two sessions. We have this session and one more. So we're still going to be kind of free and open in this session. When we get to that last session, we may go for a bit more hard framing to make sure we reach our kind of conclusion, our destination that we want. But this time we're still going to be fairly loose and able to get out there and just sandbox a bit. I do have some awful things afoot. But what we've done in the last two sessions is, first off, our various folks have made it into town, and we had heard that some of the people who lived outside of Marais, out in the swamps, had been disappearing, hadn't been coming into town, couldn't get in touch with them, odd things going on with them. A local reporter has been keeping up with that, and we haven't had a chance to speak to her because we've really been sort of busy doing other things. but we know that there is a reporter in town, and she's been keeping a little tabs on this. We know Marais is a very small insular town. It's one of those like one stoplight towns. You know, there's just a center crossroads, some buildings around that, the few folks who live in town around these buildings. Then most of the people live out and farm or hunt or live off of the swamp around it. And Marais is a place that's kind of, you know, stuck in the past. It's, you know, they don't go for all these city folks, and they're not so fond of strangers coming through, though they do have some who come occasionally for like swamp tours or to buy things or just pass it through somewhere else. But when the group had gotten into town, they'd all ended up at Zobelia's house, where Zobelia had mentioned to Silence that something was coming. She could sense it, and that she knew it was going to be bad. And she mentioned a man named Carl, who had lived out in the swamp and whose ghost had come and spoken at the bottom of her bed, saying something terrible had happened to him. And with that information, our crew had, after spending the night there at the house, packed up, gotten in a boat, and headed out to Carl's cabin, where they found Carl not in very good shape. In fact, he had been ripped wide open and was very dead. And while they were investigating him, up from the swamp comes this gator person. I mean, huge head, sort of on bipedal. It comes out, and Silence, having no truck with that sort of thing, had slashed it with their flaming sword, killing it, but not before it said, "You cannot stop us. We are Legion." And back down into a huge hole in the bottom of the swamp there, which, as it turns out, was a gateway to hell. Not something you want around. And it was about that time that Silence parted the waters to take a look at it. And the group kind of looked at it and says, you know, we should close that up. That ain't good to keep around. Somebody might fall in. And so they start putting together the ideas when comes rushing up a boat. And it's Turner, who has been kind of being haunted by this strange girl who had, despite the speed he was cruising through the swamp, had always kept up, and she's looking just ahead and kind of looking at him. And so when it comes to the swamp having been parted by this divine presence, kind of skids the boat, comes up against the dock, sees his cousin there, is like, what the hell is going on here? And Pete, his cousin, goes, you know, we could really use your help. And so they had come to the decision that they were going to use magical means to seal this hole. And so Silence and Cody and Allison work, and they seal it. Meanwhile, Turner and Pete had said, this cannot go well, us having been to this murder scene, and it's not like we can explain it to the police. Let's burn the place down. And so they had gotten gas, and they'd gotten some high-quality Cuban rum and spread it about the place and prepared themselves to light it on fire. Cody had found in the body cavity of poor old Carl a strange symbol in iron, and had also seen that same symbol had been burned into his leg when he had been brushed up against by the gator person, the gator demon. And Pete, looking through his book, had discovered that, let's see, I have in my notes, Darmath, a demon, he who shadows the path, was very much involved in what was going on here. And Silence had sort of recognized, oh, this is one of these harbingers of the end times, and this is going to go poorly. And so once the thing was sealed, they lit the fire, they hopped on the boat thinking, okay, we're just going to cruise on out of here while this place burns. But it exploded. Boom! And when it did, kind of shoved the boat over into the bank and screwed it up. And so poor Turner's boat's messed up. They pole their way out until Turner gets a friend of his who happens to be the deputy sheriff to come out and give them a tow back into port. When they got back there, they had it had a little tension with Turner and Pete, sort of, Pete, why are you running off? You need to pay me, sort of thing. But we got that settled down enough that we all went back together to Zobelia's. And we had seen that little girl or young lady who had been following Turner had taken an interest in Cody. And once we'd gotten back to Zobelia and poor Cody's trying to wash off the ick from him, staring in the mirror back at him had been the girl as she said, "We're coming for you." And that's where we ended last time. And so I think I'm going to kind of pick up right about there. Cody, you see this girl in the mirror. What do you do?
I think Cody's going to freeze up for a moment. This is probably slightly more familiar for him than he'd like, really. But he's going to take a moment, sort of close his eyes and look back up and see if the girl's still in the mirror.
You close your eyes and kind of, as you look back up, you see yourself staring back at you.
Sure thing. So yeah, he's going to sort of take a few deep breaths, splash some water in his face, and head out. He's probably going to call out that he's going to go up to bed.
Okay.
And head to one of the spare rooms.
All right. As you head out, Zobelia comes over and says, "Well, you better at least take you a sandwich." And she hands you a little something to eat. And as you're walking away, she kind of touches you on the elbow. "Are you all right, son?"
I've been better, Miss Zobelia. I certainly have, but I reckon I'll be fine in time.
She sort of smiles and, "Son, you got some haunted eyes, but I know deep in there you got a good heart." And she kind of pats you on the cheek. "You get you some sleep. You need it, and we'll fatten you up in the morning." And as you head up to the stairs, the rest of you are being served what Zobelia has put together for a quick meal, which is pretty darn good. She has, put on a decent spread and is a fine cook. I'm going to ask the question, considering kind of the horrors you've seen, are you taking this kind of more domestic moment to put that out of your mind? Or are you going to have a discussion more about it? I'm going to come to you and ask you, Pete, what are you doing?
I am looking for an excuse to consult my pickup truck. And I imagine that I keep trying to sneak off and am intercepted by Turner, probably. So at some point, I probably give up my keys. But I am just sort of hanging around, and I'm not talking much because I'm not actually sure how useful anybody else is going to be.
Okay. So after, you will sort of leave your keys there, and we'll give you a second here to get that moment to slide out, and I'll come back to you on that. Allison, what are you doing? And as I mentioned before, something about that pit and that demonic presence has clicked a conspiracy theory you've heard of in your head. Any ideas what that might be?
So, I think Allison's hands are shaking a lot because it's kind of caught up to her what's happened. She's kind of sitting at the table, and they're all silent. When Allison's kind of hand sort of falls to the table, the lizard people are real.
Excellent. Oh, fantastic. And you see Zabiria look over at you. Well, of course they are, honey. And she pats your hand. I'm going to come back to you in a moment, Silence. I'm going down my list, but I'm going to come back to you in a moment and ask you, Turner, what are you doing?
I think after the meal, or sometimes in the middle of the meal, Turner quits the table and goes outside for a smoke.
Okay.
And just try to relax and clear his thought and try to devise a plan to get money from his cousin.
Okay. So you head out and you're on the porch, and you can, this is a nice little stretch of land, but you could still hear the swamp around you and the noise of it. And it's very dark other than the lights of the house. So it's just like inky blackness around you, and you're off in the corner smoking your cigarette as you see Pete kind of slide out and going over to his truck. But you know you have the keys. I'm going to come to you, though, real quick, Silence. What are you doing? Everyone's eating, but what are you doing?
I kind of think that there's a habit they do now whenever they visit Sobelia, which isn't often, but Sobelia probably likes to make a big deal out of it. They do prepare a meal for Silence, and just maybe in the past they wouldn't have eaten it; they would just stood around and just be a statue. But now, they're, as courtesy, they very awkwardly just kind of sit, and their hands are on the table, but they're not eating. Every time you look away, though, and you turn back, food just disappears. Even when you just blink, the food just keeps disappearing. And they're not going to answer any questions. But they're basically sitting there as courtesy to Zabelia.
And Zabelia, she's keeping up a pleasant conversation bits. She's keeping it light. But she will look over at you and go, "Oh, Si, look at you. You look like you need another plate. You're nearly done."
Just battle scars.
All right. And so, Pete, you head on out to the truck.
Yeah. So, and if it depends on whether Turner intercepts me on the way, but what I'm going to probably do is try and consult my mentor.
All right. Turner, you just going to watch him move over the truck, or you gonna go try and speak to him?
No, I think Turner sits in the dark and tries. Sits in the dark and hides in shadows, just smoking a cigar and just watch Pete struggle with the car and
I
just
like that.
Enjoying himself.
Excellent. Okay, so we've just, for the people at home watching on the movie, the TV screen, we could see the occasional glow of the cigar in the corner. But Pete, you probably didn't catch it as you head on over to the truck. So what you doing, Pete?
So I'm gonna pop the hood on my trunk or my truck and get out some jumper cables and hook them up to my battery, and then hook those up to some sort of posts that are sort of extruding from holes that I've drilled in the back of the toolbox, and have that going on. And then I get on there and I get on what looks like a little CB radio, and when I switch it on, it too is playing sort of Leonard Cohen faintly in the background. It's just something about the truck causes this effect. But I'm trying to, I'm like, Daryl, you there?
All right. And is this a rolled move?
It is a rolled move. Let me do a
Tyler, give yourself a second. Yeah, we have that weird thing where it's really loud and strange. Let's see. It seems like it's better. Pull back out.
Anything?
Yep, you're good.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this computer. It's real weird. All right, one sec.
Yeah, it did fit the aesthetic. You're right. No, it was definitely the screams from beyond there. Woo. All right.
I believe that's a 10.
Oh, fantastic. So what happens on a 10?
Let's see. It is, I get an answer to my question, no problem. So I haven't actually asked a question yet, but I am going to do that. Basically, the thing that I want to know is, it. I heard about Darmok, right?
Mhm. Darmath, yes.
Darmath. So I am asking Daryl what he knows about Darmath. I presume that closing that one hole didn't fix the problem, and I've heard some whispers about a creepy woman out in the woods. And I guess there's three things I want to know about. I don't know if I can ask them all at once. It is Darmath, creepy lady, and what Silence's role in all this is.
Okay. So as you're, Daryl, you're there. You kind of hear the weird staticky, that whine of you kind of almost like was it shortwave radios where they'll get that high whine sound to them as it comes through. Pete's that you?
Yep. Who else is it going to be at this point?
How you doing, boy?
Well, I'm all right. I'm out here in Marais, and
Always liked Mary Lou.
well, there's a bit of a problem with some alligator men going on. And,
Alligator men.
Yeah, and I'm hearing whispers of a Darmath.
Darmath.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Pete, you done stumbled into a whole nest of vipers.
Well, they're actually alligators, but yeah.
Yeah, alligators won't be the worst of it.
Ooh.
Darmath, he who shadows the path.
Huh. Well, how do I stop him? That's what I want to know.
Darmath's one who, well, according to the legends, he's the harbinger of the end.
Well, you've said that about a lot of things in my time.
There's a lot of harbingers of the end. The end is one of those things. They say the end is coming, and then it's got all these signs. You'll see a sign, and the end won't come. The Lord, he works in mysterious ways.
Yep. But it only has to happen once. And
then all the prophecies were right. I know.
Speaking of prophecies, our friend Silence is here. You know anything more than I do about Silence?
Silence. Oh. Well, that might be another sign there, Pete.
Well, damn. All right,
and
well...
The one below ain't the only one that sends harbingers of end times. He who is above will do the same.
Huh.
Have you seen anyone who you might call a handmaiden or a servitor?
So out of character, I can't remember what Pete has heard. I know that we as players have seen a lot of stuff, but
you have heard about the girl because Turner mentioned and Cody also mentioned.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll relay that and just be like, yeah, we've been like, I heard some whispers of some kind of goth in the forest, possibly does not like boats.
Goth. Oh, one of them people with the eyeliner, even when they're not out going to a party.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Oh, all right, Pete. The end times don't ever have to really come. You can just keep putting them off. The signs always have to come together just right.
Yeah.
The handmaiden. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
The handmaiden will be putting together the things that'll call he who shatters the path. He'll need power. They'll start opening up gates straight from hell so that he can bring out his minions, his creatures.
Yeah, I think we found one of them gates. We managed to get that closed up. You're saying there's going to be more of them?
Yeah, there'll be more till you stop the handmaiden.
So you're saying the handmaiden is what we need to be tracking down here. All
That'd
right.
be a
then.
big thing. But I'll tell you this, Pete. Silence is there. They ain't gonna be trying to stop this.
Yeah.
They've
Got
been
that
waiting for a damn long time.
Okay. Why'd you have to leave me just then? He sure could have used your help.
You're ready, Pete. I trained you good.
All right. Well, before I run out of car battery, I better go. Hopefully I'll see you around.
Hopefully no time soon. And scream as the thing sort of disconnects. Turner, you see Pete over there talking into a CB in the back of his truck. You probably couldn't hear everything that was said, but you definitely saw Pete having this conversation. And then, Pete, I'm guessing you're heading back in.
Yeah, I'm actually, as I walk back in, I catch sight of Turner, I think, and I'm just going to be like, can I bum a smoke?
Yeah, Turner, do you, when you see Pete heading back in, what are you doing? Does he
I
see
don't
you?
think. Okay. I think I inhale a big smoke so that the glow of the cigarette appears a bit bigger. Then I kind of step forward just a little bit, and I kind of raise my head, sorry, and kind of look in the eyes and said, "Do you know that you're talking to a dead end radio?"
Yep. Don't worry too much about that. Sorry
Listen,
about
if
the
you
boot.
got any problems, we can talk, okay? I'm from the family, okay? I mean, seriously. I can understand you, man.
Well, thank you for that. I'll let you know. But I'm sorry about your boat. I think I got an idea on how to pay you back. It may take just a minute, but I have some. There's not too far from here. Indeed, there is something I might be able to get a hold on, which would fetch a high price on the market.
Okay.
If you just gotta trust me, it probably won't take too long at all.
Sure. I just want to repair my damn boat. But I also want to repair you as well, man. Like, seriously.
You know what? By the end of the week, if any of us are still here, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Nice. That's a nice moment. Good job, guys. Okay. So, as Pete and, Turner, eventually you'll come on back in and people have finished their meal and it's getting a little later now. Y'all had gotten back about 6 or 7. It's gotten to be about 10. Cody, you've gone up. And are you going to bed or is there something you're wanting to do?
No, Cody is going to go up, like I say, go up into his room. He's going to rifle down to the very bottom of his sort of big pack, pull out a slightly battered looking and half empty packet of suspicious looking crystals, decant some into a pipe and sneak out the window down to the bottom of the garden.
All right.
He's not planning to sleep tonight.
Gotcha. All right. And so as you smoke your ickiness, anything? Are you trying to hit a move, or are we just getting yourself hyped up?
Yeah, he's just doesn't want to sleep tonight. Doesn't want to dream tonight. So if anyone wants to, have a scene with him, he will be there for the hitting. But yeah,
Okay.
Other than that, there's nothing. I'm
Gotcha. All right then. And Noella, as the evening comes to a close, anything you're wanting to do? Are you helping Zabelia to bed and going to bed yourself?
I think I have helped Sobelia to bed, and while I am laying in my bed, I am not sleeping because I am haunted by thoughts of the lizard people. And I think I'm even like talking out loud. So if someone like passes by the door of my room, it sounds like, it literally kind of sounds like a mad raving. It's just like the world is controlled by a secret elite group of lizard people.
That's wonderful. I'll open that up if anybody wants to engage that at the moment, or say you at least hear it. Cody, you think you hear that from your side of the room when you go back into your room?
Yeah, I possibly do, actually. I might, yeah, as I come back in, I think I might hear that, but yeah, Alison's still obviously awake and kind of knock on her door.
I get up and kind of open the door. Hey, Cody.
Hey, Alison, I take it you ain't looking to sleep tonight either.
Cody, the lizard people are real.
Sure
They're controlling the world.
Sure seems that way. Mind if I come in?
Sure.
He's gonna just sort of pert somewhere. He's probably got that very slight twitch going on. So yeah, there's some damn strange things out there.
Allison is pacing around the room, and I think like she's biting the flesh between her thumb and forefinger. Like, she's biting it so hard that it starts bleeding.
Hey, now there's. Are you all right, Alison? You seem. I know things kind of been easy for you since. Well, with your grandma and all, and college and that.
Coming back here was supposed to help, and now everything is just strange, and I don't know.
I ain't exactly one for giving good life advice, I'm afraid, but you should at least. I don't know, try not to hurt yourself too much, you know.
I think I go over and sit by him and just like wrap him in a hug.
I like that. Do we say maybe, with him close by you and him clearly not going to sleep, do you think maybe you get a little nap on his shoulder, or do you think you just both sit there awake through the night? What do you think happens?
I think maybe I like get to sleep a little bit.
And maybe that, Cody, having Allison there sleeping on your shoulder probably brings you some comfort. You're not going to sleep.
No, but yeah, definitely.
I think that's a pretty scene as we pull back. We've got the little standing lamp in its warm glow. The two of you sitting there, kind of, taking comfort from each other. Silence. The room, the house has grown quiet. What are you doing?
I know I'm gonna check up on Sibilia.
You crack open the door. She has a little, like a night light in there, but you see she's resting easy. She's asleep. Again, today she seems so alive, seems so, at ease.
Sibylla Simone, you feel alive.
She sort of cracks her eyes. Sigh. I feel better than I've felt in years.
Do you still expect to pass on soon?
Yeah, everybody's got to go, and, well, my time's near.
But is that what you want?
I always wanted to see Allison find her a nice boy, and maybe get to see me some grandbabies, great grandbabies. I can't say I ever am ready to go, but the Lord calls me when He calls me. You know that, Si, better than anybody.
I think Science is just going to be very honest. Well, whether your life passes on, it is now in my hands. Sibylla Simone.
Si, have you done something? Are you thwarting the will of the Lord?
Only my duty. I do as I am told. I think they kind of step forward so clearly see not just the two cracks, but the waxy skin, all the veins coming from that demonic influence. It's sharper. It looks sharper now.
Si, you can't take on my pain to yourself. I don't want that.
This was not your pain, nor mine. This was your granddaughter's. And as you've charged me, I'll take on whatever pain. Spare her.
She sort of smiles at you. You've been my best friend.
Crack of a smile. No, she's not gonna smile yet. And so I'm just like, and that is why you will live on for now, because you have charged me to look after your granddaughter. And as far as your life is concerned, it's tied with hers now, as it probably already was.
She sort of, I live on in her. She looks like she's heading back to sleep. Unless you have something else you wish to say or ask her.
No, I think that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. When she goes back to silence, just leaves.
Beautiful. Good scene. Good scene. And so the night passes. Everyone had a room if they wanted one. Pete, I don't know. You might have stayed in your truck like you did last time. You do. Turner, they had certainly set you up a guest room. And night heads past midnight. And in the wee early bits of the morning, about 3 in the morning, the only two people still awake in the house are Silence and Cody. Silence, you could sense something. Something dark is watching the house.
I think I kind of step out the house and kind of It's a very bullshit way to explain, but just let my senses unfurl. This is basically to read a bad situation.
Yep. Let's have you read a bad sitch.
Okay. Let's see. That's a 9 minus 1. That's an 8.
All right. So you get to hold 1, and that's a question. What would you like to ask?
What's the biggest threat?
You step out to the porch and you're looking around. You can hear in the swamps around the clearing of the house this sort of groan coming from several spots around the house. And as you're watching into this, this house has one of those. They're the security poles, so it has that very white light that comes from it. I don't know if in America we have these. They're just big wood poles, and they'll have a light coming off of it. And it's just extremely white. It's so white that it washes out everything. And so at night, it's going to have that kind of bluey whiteness to it. And you see stepping out from the swamp and the brush a figure. But you could tell looking across at it, there's no life in that person. This is the dead walking. I'm going to cut over to you, Cody. Cody, you probably, kind of laid Allison down so she can sleep a little better than just up against your shoulder. And, you've probably been pacing and in that sort of methed out way, thinking.
Yeah.
Or cracked out, whichever you piped up. In a lot of ways, the effects are the same. Just a question of whether you feel great or paranoid. But you, as you're walking by a window, the window in your room, something sort of catches your eye. Why don't we have you read a bad sitch as well?
Certainly. On the dice, and that's off of read a bad sitch is off sharps. That's an 8.
Alrighty, so you're going to get one question as well. And I'll give you a little set information so you can work your question off of that. As you're looking out the window, and again, it's you're on the opposite side from that security light, so it's very dark out there. All you have is the moonlight shining down. But from this height, you could see there are two figures, people, that are walking in the brush, the swamp, towards the house. You could tell there's sort of a jerky quality to how they're walking. So what's your question?
Go on. We'll go with what's the best way to protect the victims? Or presumably in this case, what's the best way to protect the house? It probably makes more sense, but yeah.
Looking at, you can tell that something in you says that these are the dead, that these are unnatural creatures coming here. You could try to block off the entryway so they can't get in. Something also tells you that these are creatures of darkness, and that light and fire are things that they will not be able to stand.
Sure thing.
And keep in mind for both of you that you get a +1 ongoing while the information is relevant. So You know, if you can work in why your information you came through, that's a +1 ongoing. Silence. What are you doing as you see this?
I kind of want to wake everyone up.
You certainly know Pete's in the truck out here. Everybody else is in the house, but Pete's over there in the truck.
I assume the truck is kind of close to where the undead is shambling.
It's certainly between you and them, and yeah, they would get to it before. Oh, it's so bad that Pete just disappeared on you.
Oh no! What a scaredy cat! I am going to throw a rock at that truck.
All right.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, we were like, oh goodness, it's so bad Pete just ran off. Pete, you hear something go thump into the side of the truck, kind of wake you up.
Okay. My eyes open and I've got the shotgun in my hands already, and I'm kind of doing that, like one-eyed, like slowly raise up and sort of see if there's what I can see.
Well, you've noticed that there's a rock. Now I'm guessing. Okay, you sleep in the truck. It's a pickup truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're sleeping in the bed.
I was imagining I was actually in the cab.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you're in the cab. So you kind of do that one eye open and kind of look up, and I think you can see on the porch. You know, you look to the house probably first. You see Silence standing there, kind of maybe silhouetted by the very faint light that's still on in the house, and you think it was, you know, Silence has tried to get your attention.
So I'm just gonna sort of be like, "You need something?"
I point at direction of the thing coming out of the darkness.
As you kind of follow where Silence is pointing, you see first one, then two other people come stepping out towards you. They're maybe 10, 15 feet from the truck, kind of shambling forward. They got their heads down, their hair's lanky. They're wearing work clothes, but they're ripped and muddy. And as one of them kind of lifts his head up, his jaw is hanging slack. His eyes are black and rotted in the socket, and the skin has begun to rot.
So yeah, I'm gonna guess that Pete would recognize this situation immediately as not some normal folks.
Not good.
And I guess what I'm gonna do is shout back at Silence. You okay if I shoot these people?
I shrug.
So I sort of see that and just go, all right, and then I'm gonna take a shot.
All right. Are you opening the door, rolling down the window, or shooting through your window?
Down that window, and then take aim and try and shoot the one up front.
All right. I think that's kick some ass.
Alrighty. What do you add to kick some ass?
You had tough.
Okay, so I got a 5 then.
You fire, but you've kind of gotten yourself off, you know, you're off balance and you sort of whipped it off. And you know, the kickback from the gun sort of slams you back, and you hit that one coming. You hit it right in the chest, and but it's just black and rot that comes out of the hole that you've blown in. You can even kind of see through the hole beyond it, but it doesn't. It sort of staggers and moves forward. The other two, having, you know, noticed you there, move forward towards the truck, and one of them leans in and is now trying to get to you. And I think I'm going to give you a -1 forward on your next action, because you've been thrown off balance and this thing is right there at you.
So I instinctively reach for my belt where my keys would be, And then I'm like, damn it. And so I just yell back, Turner!
All right. Gonna go to you. I think I'm gonna go to you, Turner. You definitely can. You know, your business means that you're the sort of person who has to keep one eye open even when sleeping. And you hear a shotgun blast and then somebody yelling your name.
Okay. Instinctively, I got up. Probably I was already dressed, so I think I only got my pistol with me because I got 2 long guns and I don't have anywhere to stuff them. Anyway, I only got my gun.
Okay. Or do you think now your guns, your big guns, you probably did put them in like Pete's truck, right? I mean, you didn't leave them back at the boat, did you?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably.
Okay. All right.
So the first thing I do, I look up from the window to see what's going on.
You see those 3 figures around the truck, and you can see Pete kind of scrabbling to the opposite window and yelling out of it, Turner!
Okay. I ran. Is this a 2-story house or just 1 story?
It's a 2-story house, but you can be on the bottom floor. There is a guest room off the back.
Good. I ran out to the front door while screaming, "Wake up!" in order to wake everybody.
Okay.
Then I rush to the car if I can and try to grab Pete to get out of the truck the other way, the opposite way.
Gotcha. So you're running to that passenger side door and you're trying to open it up and help Pete out. As you run by, you see Silence standing there, on the porch watching this stoically. I mean, there's like no shock, I'm guessing, right? I mean, you're not giving a lot away, are you, Silence?
No, although I realized when I was pointing out the zombie things at Pete, what I should have done was I should have unfurled the sword and start pointing at like the.
You could certainly have drawn it out.
Yeah, so, I think once Turner runs past, that sounds like back and pulls out the flaming sword.
The light from it shines out, and Turner probably. As you rush by, you see this as you get over to the door. Upstairs, Allison, you hear people shouting. You've heard that gunshot. You wake up and you see Cody. Cody, what are you doing?
Yeah, so Cody will have scrambled to again go to his pack, and he'll have pulled out just a small pistol, like one of those ones with a really short barrel on them.
Mm-hmm.
Little
snub nose.
Yeah. I was like, Allison, now this is going to sound kind of crazy, but I think we might be under attack by zombies. If we need to get all the lights on in the house and preferably find something we can burn them with.
What do you say, Allison? I mean, you're kind of struggling up from sleep.
I think, well, I don't say anything, but I think we run downstairs and I think we find Zobelia in the kitchen kind of sleepy, but like she heard everything and got up too. And I go in the liquor cabinet and grab, it's pretty much Zobelia's high-grade stuff. So I grab like her like nice brandy or something and like start making a makeshift Molotov cocktail.
Okay, she's probably got a couple of jars of shine in there as well. I mean, she's a lady who understands she needs some moonshine on occasion.
I think I'll use the moonshine then.
All right.
She's gonna be mad if I use the nice stuff.
And she looks over at you and she goes, "Honey, be careful. I think the dead is walking." And she's picked up her big cast iron skillet and she's standing there like, I mean, she doesn't look scared at all.
Grandma, aren't you scared?
I've been out in these swamps too long to be scared of a couple little walking dead.
So I think I go outside, and is Cody following me?
Yeah, Cody, what you doing?
So Well, Alison's been getting the moonshine. I think I'll rifle through a couple of drawers to see if I can find a torch, flashlight, and I'll head outside with that in one hand and a pistol in the other.
All right. So the two of you come out, and you could see the big flaming sword. I mean, that's one of those things you catch pretty quick. It's very noticeable. As you see that, and Pete inside of the truck, and Turner's come over there, and he's, opening up the door, trying to let you out. But that one that was coming through the window is clawing in, and it's grabbing like your pants leg, and it's trying to pull on you. I need an act under pressure, I think, to see if you're going to get out of here.
Can I roll to help?
You can, if you'd like to. You can wait and see how he rolls. They say you can roll beforehand, but I kind of find for time's sake, it usually helps to just wait until you see if it's going to make a difference.
So act under pressure is cool, right?
Yes.
So that is a 9.
Then yes, it very well could help. Why don't you roll?
Because I have a -1 ongoing, it is actually innate.
Ooh, all right. Well then, so it won't help as much to do the help out. So, Pete, you're going to get one of the infamous 3: worst outcome, hard choice, or price to pay. I'm going to give you this option here. Turner has opened up the door. So you're, and he's trying to pull you out. You have an option here. It's going to grab your legs, which mean it's probably going to, as you get pulled, it could very well do some damage to you. Or it's going to grab your shotgun.
I think I will take the damage.
So you're hanging onto that shotgun as Turner pulls you out. And its hands, they just kind of rotted to where there's just, you could see the bone tips coming out of them as they scrape down your legs, digging deep furrows from your about mid calf down to your ankles. Take 2 damage. But Turner, you yank him out, and he falls to the ground. You got him. As the other 2 of these things have shambled around either side of the truck there. And now that you can see them, these are rotted corpses. I mean, these are dead things moving towards you. What are you doing, Turner?
Can I take his shotgun and blast one off?
I'm guessing Pete would hand it off to you.
Okay.
In fact, I think that's why I get hurt, is I'm busy handing him the shotgun.
Excellent.
Okay. I think I'm trying to do 2 things, if that's reasonable. On one hand, I'm trying to grab Turner grab Pete to get behind me, and with one hand, I just unload a slug to the zombie.
All right. I think that's no problem. So Pete's kind of on the ground, so you kind of pull him back so he's behind you as you just pull off this hip shot with the shotgun. Okay. Why don't we roll then? That's going to be kick some ass.
Okay, so I'm rolling tough, right?
Correct.
Roll plus tough. Okay. It's 7.
7. All right. You and whatever you're fighting inflict harm on each other. Let's see. Establish usually means inflict harm with a weapon. Blah, blah, blah. So with a shotgun. By the way, Pete, does it have on there what the shotgun's damage is?
It's 3 on close.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay. So you fire, and it hits this thing in the chest, and you do see, it smashes into it, and it does enough damage that it severs its spine. So the thing sort of collapses, but it's still clawing on the ground towards you. But that other one from the other side has managed to come around, and it grabs your arm, and as it's digging its claws into your arm. You take 2 points of damage, and it's trying to get where it can bite you. Silence. What do you do?
I'm gonna run forward and just try and behead that one zombie attacking Turner.
All right. Again, sounds like either in this case it could be something like if you want, you could have done a protect someone, and then we could have that retcon out that damage that Turner took from protect someone, or you could do some kick some ass to try and kill it after after Turner there has taken the damage.
How much damage?
He took 2.
I think narratively Sirens doesn't want to keep them alive. I think I'll try to protect someone.
All right. So you're rolling with tough.
Oh,
and,
that was a bad idea. That was a 3. And tempting. I'm not going to spend luck.
And you do have that one ongoing for working off the knowledge you had.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's helping, but I'm just to remind you.
It won't, because it's going to be cancelled out by the -1 ongoing from the demonic influence.
Ah.
All
right.
All right. I will spend a luck.
All right. Excellent.
How much will I have? I have 3 left.
Okay. And so let's see. So with that, your flaming sword sweeps across and just perfectly decapitates this thing. And as the burning, you see it sizzle through as the body sort of collapses down, and the head kind of gives this last as it flies over to the side and kind of bursts into flames on the ground there. It is once again very, very dead. With your divine special for using a luck move, when you spend luck, you get word that your mission requires something to be done urgently. And as this thing and your sword flashes through it and the head goes flying, you feel this presence, this, the glow of the divine around you. You must bury these things. Silence. They must be returned to their rest, or their souls will feed the beast.
I nod at that. And can I try and drag these 2 cousins towards the porch?
Yeah. Okay. So, and you and Turner kind of, with Turner having gotten Pete, you've done this and you're moving back. So the 2 of you are moving back. We still have the one that's now clawing towards the passenger side in the cab. We have the one that's been split in half, and he's not doing great, but it's clawing its way. And it's at this point that coming around the house, we have 2 more to either side of the porch. Allison, what are you doing?
So I have rushed out on the porch. And I think Sobelia comes out behind me while I'm now looking, and I throw one of the Molotov cocktails at one of the zombies by the truck.
By the truck, or one of them coming around the side of the house?
No, by the truck.
Okay. Are you throwing it at the one in the cab, and are the one that's still clawing its way?
No, well, the one clawing its way, although if I roll terribly, it might hit the truck.
It very well might. Let us see. Let's roll kick some ass. That's tough for you, Allison.
Oh, I got a 9.
Excellent. Cody, you're right there beside her. Want to try and help out with that?
Sorry, I just had myself on mute. Yeah, sure thing. I'll be as I see sort of which one she's aiming up for, I will shine the light in that direction to sort of help pick them out better. This will probably go badly, as I'm not very good at.
Cool.
If I can find the right tab.
Keep in mind you got that +1 ongoing for
the
information.
That's a good point. That's an 8. So
fantastic. You grant that +1, but you also expose yourself to any trouble or danger. In this case, that's going to take Allison, you up to a 10. So with a 10, you could choose one extra effect. You are going to be hitting it. You're going to do your damage. It opens you up to potential attack back. Or, but you get the chance to either gain advantage, take one forward, give +1 forward to another hunter. You can inflict terrible damage, doing extra harm. You could suffer less harm yourself from the counterattack, -1 harm. Or you force them where you want them. What you thinking?
I think I want to force them where I want them. And can I, like, get the one out of the truck? Is there a way that we could, like...
Yeah, I think I can do that. So you throw this one, and it hits that one that's crawling along the ground, and is the Molotov cocktail Emily, busts, and the fire spreads across it. It sort of, and it's going to kill it. But the fire, you can see the one that's crawling its way out of the truck kind of looks over and struggles out of the truck and begins moving to get away from that fire, like it's frightened of it. But in its death throes, that one that's kind of crawling along, sort of and flings its hands out, and its hand disconnects. And its flaming hand goes, and we get a slow-mo shot of that as it comes flying over, and it hits you, Allison, right in the chest, and the gory, icky, flaming rot of the hand goes and flares out, catching your hair and your clothes. And Cody, your hair and your clothes on fire. Both of you take 1 point of damage, as the two of you are getting this flaming rot extinguished.
I think Zobelia also rushes over and is hitting us with a towel or something, trying to extinguish it.
Putting you out. Pete, what you doing, buddy? You've been kind of drugged back.
I was actually wondering if I could use one of my moves, which is where to go. I've lost the bookmark, but one of the things that I rolled earlier was that in the previous one I rolled fortunes, and I can spend. I got one hold which I can spend to retroactively warn someone about an attack.
Yeah.
So I was actually thinking, though, instead of strictly warning someone, I could just try and use my axe to sort of bat that hand out of the way.
Oh, I love this idea. I think that's cool. So as you're being drawn back, and we've got the hand going, we see just kind of this axe catch the hand, and the fire goes around the axe. And so you two can get rid of that harm you just took, as Pete has managed to stop the flaming flying hand. Good job, Pete. And
that's about all I'm going to be capable of for a minute, because I'm actually pretty messed up.
Okay, and so by now, Turner and Silence, you've gotten Pete and back to the edge of the porch. Turner, what you doing?
Can I assess the situation in order to see in order to make a good plan out of this?
Yeah, you certainly can. You could do a read a bad situation if you'd like here.
Okay, I will do that. It's roll plus sharp.
That's right.
Okay, my sharp is 2. Oh, it's 7. Oh my god.
Okay, so you get to hold 1, so you get 1 question out of that.
Okay. Um, so I have to pick from that list, right? If I'm not
Yes, sir.
mistaken. Okay. Um, okay. It's gonna be curious, but are there any dangers we haven't noticed yet?
Yes. As you're, looking around and scanning, and you can see the two that are kind of coming around the edge of the house, and you're looking, and off to the side of the swamp, you see that white dress and that girl with her dark hair. She's looking out from the swamp, smiling at you. She's not advancing, but you could see her out there in the swamps watching this with glee.
Okay. Okay.
And remember, you'll get a +1 forward with acting on that information.
Okay.
Is there something you'd like to do?
Can I dash out to the truck, get my assault rifle, and run towards her?
Yes. Well, I'll let you run out there and get your assault rifle with this action. So why don't we do an act under pressure?
Okay.
Because these things are coming at you. So, I mean, there's potential for danger here.
Okay. It's roll plus cool.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh my god, it's 4.
Ooh.
So it's a fail, right?
It is. So that's XP.
Okay. Marked it.
And if you'd like, or you could use a luck to make it. I'll tell you what's going to happen, and then you can decide if you would like to use a luck. You're keeping an eye on her and kind of watching these that are coming around the house, and so it kind of slipped your mind, that one that had crawled out of the cab, because he had kind of crawled out and had to get away from the fire. And so as you come around there and you're reaching into the truck to pull out your assault rifle, you hear, and behind you is that one that had come out of the cab, and he is attempting to grab and bite you.
Okay, I did definitely use a luck.
All right. So instead of
mark next.
Yep, mark your luck, and with the crooked when you spend luck, someone from your past will reappear in your life soon. Cool. We'll get to that in a minute then.
Okay.
So, as you pull out your assault rifle, you see that one from the cab has moved around. So it's moving up towards you, but hasn't gotten to you yet. You've moved fast enough to avoid that. And so you whip out your assault rifle as it's kind of moving in that direction, but it hasn't gotten to you yet. That's what I'll give you off of using that luck to avoid it. Let's move over again to you, Silence. What are you doing? You've pulled back. You see Turner has run to the truck. You see these two kind of coming up the porch towards y'all. What you doing?
I think. Well, I'm concerned that Turner has just run off. Away from us. I'm gonna take my attention to the other two, the most immediate two, and I can't hit, but I can only go for one of them with my sword at the moment.
Or because they're on opposite sides. I mean,
they're on opposite sides.
Yeah, they're coming around the house.
Okay, all right, and I think this all happening in a split second, and Turner's run off. It sounds like, what are you doing? Okay, and which one is closest to the porch? Or are they both kind of the same distance away?
They're both coming up on either side of the porch, but one of them is closer to you. It's only about 7-8 feet.
Okay, so I think I kind of drag Pete to the porch. I kind of nod my direction. I nod at Cody and Allison to like, there's another one over there, and I'm just gonna rush forward at the other and try to kick its ass.
All right, let's see some kick some ass.
Oh, dice don't fail me now. And wait. Ah, Jesus. Let's see. 6, 7, 8. That's a 7.
Okay. You rush in and you hit it with your sword. Now, your sword, of course, is always a weakness, isn't it, to monsters? Isn't that the effect of your sword?
Yeah, it's a 3 harm, fire, holy, and thanks to smite, the move I took, my body and divine weapon always counts weakness against the monsters.
Excellent. So as you and the flame, you cut through its head and down through its body, and it bursts flame from its, kind of where it's hit, and the gases inside of it come up. But that blast from it also washes back over you. You're taking 2 points of damage.
Oh. Does it matter that I'm wearing divine armor?
What does your divine armor say?
1 armor and holy.
Yes, it does. So if you've taken, I'd forgotten you had that. Any damage you've taken thus far, you would have taken 1 off of.
I think the only damage I've taken is 1 I took from Allison, and the other one was a consequence of the magic.
Okay, so yeah, that would have worked on it, but this time it certainly works. And so as it washes, your suit still stays perfectly white, and it reduces it down to 1.
Cool. Well, that means I've reached unstable, so.
Ooh. We might need to have some healing on you pretty soon. But this thing just falls to the ground completely finished. Cody, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think I'm going to follow Silence's lead on this. I'm going to the zombie that's coming from the other side. I'm going to shine the flashlight sort of directly into its face to see if the light distracts it, and then I'm just going to try and fire off a few shots at it from the pistol.
All right. So that's going to be some kicks.
I'll aim for that. I'll aim for the head because that's what you're supposed to do in these situations, I believe.
Very good. And you see as the light hits it in the eyes, it does sort of recoil. And it stopped advancing when you did that. And it's kind of opened itself up for that shot. So you get that +1 from your information.
Cool. So that gives me an 11.
Ooh, fantastic. So with the 11, you're going to do your damage. And you get your options here if you want to take advantage to give a +1 forward or +1 forward to another hunter. Inflict terrible damage, which I think you're going to be okay. You may not need to do that. Suffer less harm yourself because it's going to do something back at you, or force them where you want them. What would you like as the extra effect?
I think I'll take suffer less harm for this one. As I'm sort of shooting at it while it's still a distance from me.
Right. Pow. It hits it perfectly in the forehead as it was kind of recoiling from the light, and its head, and it plop, collapsing down to the ground. And as it does so, it sort of claws its last little bits in your direction. But with that -1 harm, and I've been letting them do. If y'all were doing range attacks, I've been kind of doing half, figuring some way to do a half. That's why y'all took 1 from the hand. With the -1, it's got nothing left as it just collapses down, and it is quite finished. Turner, you've got your gun. What you doing?
I confront her. I confront that woman in white. So basically, I just run towards her, and at a safe distance, I just unload the assault rifle, man.
Excellent. All right, let's roll kick some ass again.
Okay.
And again, you got that +1 going forward from your info.
Okay. It's 13.
Woo! Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You fire, and you see her, the bullets hit her, and she sort of goes, "You're gonna pay for that. I'll get all of you." And she sort of just fades back into the swamp, disappearing. But she is definitely run off. I'm using, my monster move of getting the fuck out of town. But yes, you hit her and she dips out. And
Okay.
silence descends. It's quiet. The echoes of the assault rifle still ringing across the swamp. As Zobelia looks over at you, Turner, and says, "Ooh, I like that gun." And we're going to take our break here as we have finished this zombie assault. So let's take 5 minutes, and I'm going to let me do something real quick for y'all. I had set up. I can get it. If I can get it to load. There we go. There we go. Here's something for us to kind of listen to if we'd like during your break, turn your speakers on or whatever. But a little intro music or a middle music for us to have. And like I say, we'll be back in 5 minutes. Always love a good zombie fight. Ooh. All right, we'll let everybody get back and we'll move to the fallout of this. All right. Give David just a second.
Aren't you glad we didn't hit the truck?
Whew.
Hey,
I was, there was a part of me going, oh, roll that fail, roll that fail.
Me too. I kind of wanted to hit it, but
Oh, me. All right. And so, again, silence has fallen. All that's left is the ring out of that assault rifle. And you see, we'd had that one left that was still up. But as, you know, he'd fired into the swamps and she'd run, it had just collapsed, just bonelessly, just flopped. Zobelia has moved over to one of the ones that, to the one that you shot, Cody, you know, and its head's kind of, the top of its head's been blown off. But she goes over and looks down and goes, I'll be damned. That's Zeke Duchamp. Oh, Zeke, you don't look so good. What do, yeah, Allison, what do you do?
I think I know him.
I think so, too. Tell us something then about Zeke. What do you know about Zeke Duchamp? You froze there. What did you?
He used to babysit me.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, so he's an older man, probably in his 50s. And so as you're looking at him, you look around and you start realizing that well, there's his wife, Millie, and that was his son and his other son. And you can't really tell who that is anymore, but it must have been his other son. But this seems like it was the Duchamps. Silence. What are you doing?
I'm very authoritatively saying these bodies need to be buried. They need to be given their rest. And also, Silence is very noticeably doing a thing that they haven't really done in they didn't look like they were doing in a while. They're very audibly breathing.
Mm.
Do I hear this? Do I hear the Silence, order, let's say it must be buried? Do I hear this?
Yeah. I mean, you're kind of, I was going to ask you, what do? You've moved away from the group and towards the swamp a little bit. Are you seeing her run? Are you running after her? Are you coming back to the group?
I'm coming back to the group, changing the magazine of the assault rifle. And as soon as I hear Silence, ordering the bodies must be buried, I took a glance at him. You know what? Bury them yourself. You know what? Bury them yourself. You failed to save my cousin. I run past you, and you just stood there pointing. That's you're a joke, man. You're a joke.
Oh, even with the flaming sword there. Oh, harsh words out of Turner. How do you react, Silence?
I kind of stare at them like another monkey not doing what I'm saying, and they just kind of turn to Cody, just like,
and
huh? I think also Silence just okay, fine, fuck off, and starts whatever's body is the furthest away, just starts dragging them towards the porch.
Okay. So you head over to the one that had just sort of collapsed by the truck. As you get over to it, you could see where it's, where it collapsed, its shirt has kind of come open. And you could see burned into its chest, almost like a brand, is that symbol. One you have from the iron, one that's on Cody's leg. You see it's burned into the chest of this person. Cody, what are you doing?
I'm going to call out to Silence. Do these things need to go in like consecrated ground or something, or be okay to bury them just out in the swamp?
Was that implied by On High?
It was not. You get the feeling that if, when you bury them, you will sort of probably say a word or something that would bless that ground.
Yeah, I think I'll consecrate the ground.
Cody, do you go over and start helping?
Yeah, I will. I'll probably so Pete, we okay to put these in the back of your truck?
Pete?
Yep. And I think at that point I'm gonna sort of go and limp over to the cab of my truck and open it up, and maybe there's like some fingers and toes or something that sort of sloughed off of that thing that crawled through it, and I sort of toss them in the back. But
Okay.
I grab my sort of my big old book of my sect, and I'm gonna turn to Sobelia and be like, I think it's time, Sobelia, and keep eye contact with her. But I'm gonna hand that book to Allison, and say, you might want to familiarize yourself with the contents of this.
Sobelia sort of goes, I told Daryl I didn't like that, but you may be right, Pete.
Well, you said you didn't want to send her out in the world, but I think it has come to us now.
She looks over at you, Allison. There's a lot I always wanted to tell you, but maybe you should learn some of it for yourself. What do you say, Allison?
Well, I think Allison has started to cry.
And so, do you take the book from Pete as he hands it to you?
Yes, although I don't know if I really understand what it means yet.
But if you flip through it, like the first few pages you see are just like confirmations of some of your conspiracy theories. Detailed.
Excellent. And Sobelia will have looked down, as you said this, Pete, looked down at your leg, and we might need to clean up that wound of yours.
That would be nice.
And Turner, as you storm past Silence and back up to the porch, what are you doing?
I think I need to calm down a bit because Turner is really angry right now. He just tries to get a hold of the situation and just try to live the moments of the events from yesterday and today, just to see why is he in this situation. And I think he will talk with the rest of the group once everyone is really, I guess, cozy, calm a bit, just to make a plan, just a really a good plan.
Cool. And again, for you, I mean, the rest of these folks are used to bizarre things. Allison a little less than, some of them, but you've really not encountered this. I mean, these were dead people walking around. This is scary shit. So it makes sense that you're angry and worried. And so, I think Sobelia is getting Pete to come inside. Cody and Silence are loading these things onto the truck. So I think I'm going to kind of slide us through a bit of time as Cody and Silence, you two head off to bury these things. Inside the house, we have Turner, Allison, and Pete, with Sobelia trying to wrap up this this wound on you, Pete. Because she is doing it and she brings out her own, this is my own ointment. as she puts on it, none of that Neosporin, that stuff don't work. And you can heal 1 damage as she has done this to you. But the 4 of you are in this room. I think this might be this is probably a good group for you, Turner, for us to think about a plan. So we'll start with Turner having said, we need a plan. And Pete, how do you respond to that? You're kind of, in a way, stuck in the leader position, or at least the guy whose job it is to handle this shit.
Meanwhile, Turner seems to be more capable than me altogether. So at first, I think I actually do want to thank Turner for saving our asses again. But I'm going to sort of relate what I got from Daryl, which is that we really do need to be. I'm spacing on what happened. Oh yeah, she just left when she was shot.
Yeah,
right?
She was shot. She faded back into the swamps. I'll get you, sort of thing, as she just faded back into the swamps.
So I suspect the key to all this is that that creepy woman. I believe we're going to need to be hunting her down. I think I can help with that, but anybody else who wants to come with me is certainly welcome to. I'm not in too much shape to get around myself.
So Turner, you hear what Pete's plan is. What do you say?
Okay, first of all, we might have won the battle, but the war's not over. Okay, and yeah, we kicked her ass, but she will come back and probably much stronger and much fast. Basically, you're proposing to storm off an enemy that we don't know where she lives, right? So we just what? Venture into the unknown, into the swamp. It's a huge place. We have to find her location, man. Every creature lives and hunts and breeds and lives in an area. Like, she must have left some trail or some witnesses or something, we might interrogate some locals about it. We might ask some people, because we cannot go and off into the swamps without any possible concrete information. That will be suicide.
Look, fellas, I think I have a better understanding of the psyche of the teenage girl than any of y'all do. So I know exactly who we got to go talk to, which is the reporter.
Gotcha. Okay. I do want to mention something, and I forgot to do it at the end of our last session. We had the end of a mystery there. If anyone had damage from that at the end of last time, you healed 1. So Silence, I think that really pretty much was just you. But you can, so that would keep you out of unstable at this point. But you're still hurt, aren't you?
Yeah, still hurt.
Okay.
I have 3 now.
I was going over recovery because I was thinking, how we gonna heal, and then I was like, oh shit, we finished the mystery last time. Everybody would have got 1 back because y'all didn't really have a full time to rest there because y'all got woke up in the middle of the night. Okay, so we've heard Turner saying this. Allison, you said, I know someone we could talk to. And so Belia will kind of chime up and go, well, I guess she's at least some point been to the Duchamps. So there's a couple of leads we have. We know the Duchamps have all been turned to undead. We've got a reporter who's been investigating this up until now. Some of you may have the means to do a little more with magic-y bits. All of you could do some sort of magic-y bit if you wanted to. But I'm going to switch. We'll come back to you guys at the house here in a second. But I'm going to switch to as the truck is driving down out through the swamps with Cody and Silence, which I can't imagine a more awkward duo sitting in the cab of that truck with a bunch of bodies in the back. But Cody, you can definitely see that Silence is hurt. And true to their name, I'm guessing at least to start us off with, Silence is being silent. Driving. Silence, are you the one driving?
No. Well, no.
I figured it'd probably be Cody driving, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Cody, what do you say? What do you, Silence just sitting there.
So I think we've got, obviously got the Leonard Cohen on the radio. I think obviously for the effect, it's obviously got to be Hallelujah playing as Cody's going to sort of turn his head a bit towards Silence, saying, "You ain't looking too sharp there, sire. You doing okay?"
I think. Stop me if this gets too body horrific, but kind of in response
for me,
kind of like it's almost as if Cody's words reminded Silence, "Oh, they gotta do a thing." They kind of reach up and kind of start digging through one of the cracks, and then they pull out a shard of glass, and then they add that to the bag of glass that they've been carrying around. And
nice.
then Silence says, again, just some battle scars. They come and go.
Anything we can do for that? I'm figuring it takes more than a couple of Lesterplast and some aspirin to sort you out.
Time takes care of more things. Don't concern yourself too much with my welfare. I'm here only to serve Cody St. John.
Ooh.
Sorry, there was meant to be a comma there. I'm here to serve him.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's not the big twist.
That would be a twist. All right. So Cody, hearing, and you're cruising down this road that just in the headlights, though there's beginning to be that kind of pink in the of dawn coming up. You reach kind of a off the path area, and the two of you begin digging these graves. Is there anything you'd like to do, Cody, as this is going on? Do you see anything else in this scene, or do we just have that image of the two of them digging graves?
Yeah, I think that's probably just it for the time being. I think he's going to dig these graves,
Cool.
bury the folk in it. I don't think there's a specific thing I want to be doing at the moment.
Okay. And you'll have noticed on all of them, they had that symbol burnt into their chest. Silence, is there anything else you want from the scene, or you good with it pulling out from there?
Actually,
go on.
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, you go ahead. I was just...
Sure.
No, go on.
What Cody will do, I'll say, I hope this don't cause no offense, but I'd rather not put them in the ground with that still on. And he's going to, essentially, as best he can, pull out a knife and attempt to remove the branding from the bodies before burying them, and probably burn the skin with a bit of petrol from the spare tank.
I like that.
I can let out the sword. You can burn it on that.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
So
I think Silence asks, "Are you afraid that will be your fate?"
I certainly hope not, but we'll have to see how it goes.
Fear not. There are other fates in store for you, Cody St. John.
I got no doubt.
This is a far lesser fate than you deserve.
boy, that's ominously comforting.
You sound just like my mama.
Fantastic. All right, so I think we see, we'll have that sort of time lapse of you guys, you arrived there. We see a moment of y'all pulling the bodies off. We see that moment of y'all digging. We then switch to this conversation bit as you cut off these things and stack these sloughs of skin that you pull these symbols as Silence lowers their sword to touch it. And it cleansed with fire. And then we'll fade out of the scene as we just hear the sound of the body thump into the grave. Those of you back at the house, we're kind of coming up with a plan, coming up with an idea. We might need to talk to that reporter. We know that there's this farm they might be at, might be thinking of some other more supernatural ways of looking into this. It's starting to be dawn outside. You can see the glow of it. Do we have anything we want to hit in that scene, or we want to cut to everyone getting back together and implementing a plan? So I'll go down the line. Pete, anything you want to see from this scene before we move out of it?
Not especially. I think that, I guess what I'd suggest is that we just go to talk to a reporter, and after that, if that doesn't pan out, we'll figure something out.
Okay. Allison, anything you'd like to see out of this scene?
No, just go to the reporter.
Cool. Turner, anything you'd like to see out of this scene? Are we good? So we're good. All right. So the other two, you get back, and the decision is to go see the reporter if Cody and Silence don't have anything in opposition to that. And I think we're going to go ahead and cut over to seeing the reporter. Are we all going as a group? Anyone not going, I suppose, is the better question. All right. Then I think we've all piled up either into the truck or into Zobelia's. She has a silver Cadillac that's in the garage. Or, y'all could take two cars, but regardless.
I think I'm driving the silver Cadillac.
All right. And everybody could fit in that. It's like a 1972. It's like a yacht, this thing.
Wait, I'm going to say that Zobelia insists on driving us.
I like that. All right. So everybody's pulled in, and Zobelia, she could barely see through the steering wheel, little old lady driving sort of thing, except she's flying down these roads. She has, she's really booking it, but still teeny, looking through the little steering wheel as she's driving along. Her radio is not playing Leonard Cohen. It, in fact, is playing the 50s station, and so you're hearing, rocking around, sort of things, all of this very doo-woppy rock sound that's going on. And probably as y'all pull into town, there's a little bit of Elvis doing Hound Dog, and she goes, I always thought he was so handsome. As you pull...
He faked his death.
Who?
Elvis.
Never heard of him.
And so you pull into town, and it's dawn, so there's a few folks moving around. You see some folks at the diner as you pull up to the Marais Times, or Tribune, that's it, Marais Tribune, and head on inside. It's a small paper, and in fact, as you come in and open up the door, it just opens. You've got a front, like, little sitting area and a desk. And then there's the back, the door behind that is open, and you can hear, like, the sound of the presses and stuff like that. You can hear machinery going. As you come in, there's a bell that ting, 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 ting. And you kind of hear the press chung, 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 stop. And a young lady comes out through the door. And I don't think I ever gave her a name. So let me give her a name right now. We're going to call her, her name is Claire Matthews. And she ain't from around here. she moved here. Well, I think she probably grew up in the area, went off to school, got her degree in journalism, and then came back to Marais. But she's pretty enough in a, she's not like stunning, but she's an attractive woman in her mid-20s. And has that energy that makes her very attractive. It's that sort of thing of, someone who's just alive and excited about things. And so she comes out, hello, Allison, hi.
Hi, Claire.
She looks around at the rest of you, and I think she probably knows you, Turner. She's probably, she's the newspaper person, and you've got a little bit of reputation, but she's never like investigated what the things you do, but she would have heard that, kind of what you're up to, sort of thing. And she looks over at you, Turner, and Turner, nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
How can I help y'all?
So, we're here about some of the disappearances happening in the swamp.
It's been crazy. I tell you, I've been keeping track of it, and there are at least 6 families who haven't been to town in the past 4 weeks. That's a lot. The Deschamps, and she starts naming off a few, the Fort News, that sort of thing. And I went out and I checked their farms. No one around.
So Allison kind of leans in close to her and in a low voice says, "Can you keep a secret?"
If you want it off the record, I certainly won't quote you.
Grandma hadn't heard from Mr. Carl, so we went out to his cabin, and he was dead. He was ripped open.
Like an animal?
Something more strange.
Huh. Strange, you say?
Something not of this world.
She sort of gives you this little narrowed look, and, well, she goes back behind and opens up a drawer from the desk. She says, there was no way I could put this in the paper. Nobody believed me till I found out more, but when I went out to the Fort News, it wasn't like all of them was completely gone. She pulls out and lays down some pictures. And you see where there is the body of a person. And they've been ripped open. And on their forehead is that symbol. She says, I took pictures. Didn't want to mess with the bodies. I was going to call the police. But as soon as the flash went off, it just crumbled away. Just turned to ash. All I got's the picture.
Something real bad's happening, Claire. Something big.
How about we do an investigate a mystery here? You have kind of some resources here with this. So who would we like in this group to take point on this, and then someone else can help out if need be? This is a sharp. Who feels that their sharp is the one to go at this?
I have 2 sharp, so
it's pretty darn good.
Yeah, this definitely feels like Allison's area of expertise.
All right, Allison, why don't you roll that sharp for us?
I got a 9.
Ooh, who wants to help out with this? Who thinks they can add a little something as we have Claire bringing out this information? You're kind of talking with her to get stuff out. Who feels like they want to help with that? Peach, think that's you, or you think someone else might have?
I was thinking Cody might, but I can do it if you.
No, I'm happy to. Well, I'm happy to attempt it anyway.
All right. Why don't we roll that cool then?
Sure thing.
Okay, I see there. I'm sorry. I didn't notice, Scholar, you were saying you and Turner kind of fading back a bit.
Well, once it's clear that she understands that we're not responsible for these murders or whatever, I assume we were just trying to separate ourselves from the whole dead body situation. I don't like things like that following me around. But once she says stuff like that, I'm like, oh, she gets it.
Okay. How'd you do there, Cody?
I think I only clicked on one of the dice. Sorry. That's well, it is a 10 though. That goes down to a 9 with my cool.
Okay. You help out, but you could expose yourself to trouble or danger here. We'll see how that plays out. If there's some trouble involved. This is fairly low stakes since we're investigating. But that takes you to a 10, Allison, and you get 2 on the investigate a mystery there.
So first I'm going to ask, what is being concealed here?
All right. As you're looking over where she's gone out and investigated these farms, and kind of listening to her, in each case, every one of these farms had a dock that went to the swamp. All of them are on a larger little bit of water you can get out to. And that's not true for every farm. Obviously, most of them are kind of where the swamp is around them, but it's like heavy and dense. Only the people who had access to go into like the rivers in the swamp have had this happen. And, she'd taken a lot of pictures. Maybe it's you, Cody, that, as you're looking at this, you can see in the pictures of these docks something a bit darker in that water, and it reminds you of that hole at Carl's cabin.
Yeah.
All right. And Allison's second question.
So I kind of lean in towards her and say, have you seen her?
She looks up at you and her eyes sort of widen. Who?
The girl. The one in the swamp.
I thought it might have been my eyes playing tricks on me. White dress?
Yes.
That's the one.
Yeah. I thought I saw someone watching me. I hightailed it out. I want to get to the bottom of the story, but it seemed scary. It seemed I don't know. What's your question out?
So my second question is, what can hurt it?
Ooh. I remember the white dress, but it was her eyes. The way they stared at me. They were so empty. They were the eyes of the damned. They weren't human anymore. something had taken up residence inside of there. Something evil, something demonic.
Yeah.
And I'm not a priest. I'm not even really that religious. But when I saw it, I ran straight to the church.
Claire.
Mm-hmm.
Claire. Did you get a picture?
She reaches back in that drawer, slides something over. It's very, you can make out is the white of that dress, that black hair, except the eyes are completely clear, perfectly in focus, and they are solid black across. She says, take it. Take it. I don't even want to see it.
I take it and I turn and I show it to Sobelia. Do you know her?
She kind of gives it a look. It can't be. She'd be, well, first off, she's dead, but second off, she'd be older than me. Si, maybe you remember this. That girl wandered off into the swamps. Silence. When you first arrived in Marais so many decades ago, there had been a girl who had gone out into the swamps. Tell me, what was the rumor about why she went and what happened that made her never come back?
The rumor is, let's say this girl will be like a teenager around that time. I think it's pretty straight up that she was practicing witchcraft. That whatever, and she's been threatening in town, like like her parents trying to drag her to church, telling her come back to the light of the Lord. And she's like, no, this is false. This is madness. I'm going to bring reality. I'm going to bring the truth to you people. And one day she went out into the swamp to open the doors to that truth, and she hasn't come back since.
Nice. All right, so I think that's our investigative mystery. To kind of sum up real quick, from what Claire's saying, it's an unholy presence. What could hurt it might be the holy things. Maybe it's a possession. Then, there are things that could hurt that. But I think that's the information we've kind of gleaned. And Claire is, you could see she's disturbed by all of this, and she's handed you that picture. She's like, Allison, I don't know what you're thinking, you and your friends, but be careful. That thing's no girl.
We're all out here in the swamp. Sooner or later, it's going to come for everyone.
I got to get back to work.
Thank you, Claire. We won't forget this.
You're welcome. And she heads on back into, and you soon hear the chunk, 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 chunk of the press going again. So, Pete, you've heard this, and Turner, you've heard this kind of thing, and I'm gonna go with that idea. Y'all had stepped back a little bit at the beginning of the conversation, and the others had been a little more to the fore. So, Turner, what do you say to Pete once you've heard all this? I mean, this might sound like crazy talk to you, but you've seen some things now that are pretty crazy. What do you say?
I look up to Pete and say, okay, just tell me one thing. I mean, those three, the zombies, that girl, that's all real, right?
Afraid
That's
so.
all real. Yeah, okay. So basically, I'm surrounded by supernatural creatures, right?
All the time.
Okay. All right. All right. That's a new territory I didn't explore before. You know what? Even though they are supernatural, they're bound to physical laws, right? They touch the earth, right?
Mhm.
So if we can just find their places, location-wise, we might hurt them. Because I mean, my assault rifle, hurt her. But well, she
Certainly did.
She fled away. She fled away, but it hurt her. Maybe we can check, like, that girl's past from the archives, library, something. Where she lived as a child, where she hung out. What was her parents' name? Anything about that? We might hurt her more.
I have a feeling if we could get a hold of maybe something close to her, like one of her possessions, we might be able to track her.
Well, that will be really difficult, man. I mean, if she lived, she would be like what, 100 years old? No, 90. Come on, man. It's close to impossible. But we might check library or city records, public records,
Mhm.
old city maps, anything about that. And then we can hurt her more, like seriously more. Because you know
Sounds good
what,
to me.
she's always bickering about, I'm gonna hurt you, you're gonna die, blah blah blah, all that stuff. It's rubbish, okay? It's rubbish. If she would like to hurt us, she would really hurt us. But she's just toying with us, okay? It's like a pack of ghouls, who tries to, bicker you all day and night, right? I think she just wants to really, scare us, probably, tire us, so that her boss can come up and finish the job, right? It's simple.
Yeah,
Think
but
you're onto
clever,
something there?
crooked.
Yeah.
Sorry?
So I'm gonna ask Allison sort of who the local, or what the local, if there's a library or somebody we would talk to that could give us more information on that individual in particular.
Allison, you probably, the first thing that pops into your mind would be like the parish church. That have all the records of everybody who's lived in Marais for the past 200 years.
So I say we should go to the church. Would they be Catholic here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Father
French
John. Father John is
John. I was just going to ask you, what's the name of our priest, Father John?
Jean, the French version. Father John has been there for 1 million years. He's like Zobelia's age. So he would have been alive when this happened.
Yep. All right. So leaving here, sounds for sure like, yes, Turner?
I have also another idea. I turn to Silence and Cody, and well, I guess we kind of talk outside in a like an alleyway.
Yeah.
So I turn to Cody and Silence. You know what? You two are really good at this. I'm gonna say voodoo stuff. Anyway, that reporter might have missed something that you guys only can see, right? Because she has a mortal's eyes, and you can glimpse into that unknown. So maybe if you can check that zombie man's house, sorry, zombie family's house, it was an entire family, we can track her more easily. Because in my mind, every contact leaves a trace, right?
Cody, what do you say to that? Or yeah,
could well be. We could take a look out there. I mean, church ain't exactly my scene anyway. I'd rather not deal with that whole thing right now.
Silence, what do you say?
It's a good idea. Then she nods as well.
All right. And yes. Fred looks around and says, I think we should split the party. Scooby and Shaggy, you go that way. I'll take the girls with me. And so it sounds like we are indeed splitting the party. We got Zobelia's car. I'm going to ask the question here to you, Allison. What do you think? Do you think Zobelia drives the two of them off to the Deschamps? Or does she hand over the car to Cody and go with you?
I think she's going to drive them because they have no idea how to get there.
I like that idea.
And she knows this place like the back of her hand.
I like that idea. Okay, so Cody and Silence get into the Cadillac, and Zobelia roars off, ignoring like the stop sign and the red light, and just right on through, heading out to the swamp. As the other three of you walk over to the church, and it's by far and away the biggest building in town, and it's, it was built probably 200 years ago. And it's kind of in that Gothic style, which makes sense. They got stones from the swamp to build it, and it's gray. But with all the rain and the humidity, there's moss all over it. It's got the big steeple with a bell tower. And as you head up to it, its big wooden doors are unlocked, which is normal. You open it up. Inside, it smells. There's the smell of incense and old oil that they've used, over all of these many years on the woodwork inside. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's clear that people really cared about how they did it. It may not be, they didn't bring in artisans to make the woodwork here. It was the people that lived here, and they've added on to it over the decades, the centuries. And so you could see the love in it of these local people doing carving to it. You see where people have carved the saints, and they've been lovingly painted. And as you come in, at the back, or front, I suppose it's more accurate, up near the altar, you see a man on his knees praying. He does not seem to hear you come in. Allison, I guess you would probably be the one moving forward to speak.
Yeah, I think maybe like Turner tries to like go up and talk to him, and I kind of like hold it back, say like, gotta wait till he's finished. And I just clear my throat to let him know that we're there.
Please don't say anything about zombies, dead girls, or demons, okay? Just don't. Don't say anything. Please, I beg you.
You'd be surprised at to what he's heard.
No. It's a bad move. Don't do that.
So, as y'all have this kind of whispered conversation as you're moving up, and you clear your throat, he sort of, and it may have been that he had drifted off into a little nap there more than praying, as he sort of looks back over. Oh, Allison. Turner, I haven't seen you here at church in a while. Probably ever, but he would have seen your face, known you're in the parish. So, he gives you that look and then cuts his eyes over to Pete. and they sort of narrow.
Yeah.
You and that
I'm kind of tucking my hat down and looking around.
Pete. Is that Daryl in town too?
In a manner of speaking, yeah.
Well, if the two of you are here, then it only means trouble. Allison, can I help you and your friends? Come to confess? And he kind of cuts his eyes over towards Turner.
No, Father. We've come to ask for your help on a matter, but first, I have a very pressing question for you. Did God create aliens?
God created everything, Allison. It
Yes,
is
but
hard.
But if aliens are out there in the universe and they have no idea, would they know what God is? Would they not know but still be under the purview of God?
Allison, it's not for us to know what those beyond this world know. But if there are aliens, and I surely believe in the infinite creation, there would be others that the Lord has touched besides just our unworthy souls, then they would know God's grace. Like the wild man in Borneo, like the tribesman in Africa, the Lord looks over them all, and in his love and embrace, he will bring them home.
So he would bring the aliens to Earth?
He would
So
bring
I'm like, the girl, remember what we're here for about the girl.
Right. Anyway, sorry, we can continue this later. But Father, could you take us to the archives? There's something we need to look up.
Well, certainly. And he stands up, and you can see it's kind of his knees crack and pop, and he is old. He's, in his late 80s. And he sort of stands up and begins moving. Anything in particular you're looking for? And he, what was the girl's name? I should give that a name real quick. We're going to call her Dominique. Dominique Pasqua. And by the time we have next time, I will have that in the NPCs and a less scary picture of her probably from when she was younger. But Dominique Pasqua.
We're looking for information about Dominique Pasqua.
His eyes sort of open wider, and he looks again over towards Pete. That's he's continuing walking, and as he's walking, he's opened up the door back behind the altar and moving back in deeper into the church. If I remember correctly, old Daryl, he was around when Dominique went missing, wasn't he?
I couldn't tell you.
No, that's before your time, Pete. He traveled with another young man back then.
Did he?
Didn't come to a very good end, did that young man?
Wouldn't know anything about that.
No, I guess he wouldn't have told you. As he moves you on through. It's a sad story. I had just been assigned to this church, fresh out of the seminary. That was when old Father Simon was still here. He was a hard one. That was a man with a ruler for the children and a sharp tongue for the sinner. Back into a room, opens it up, and the smell of books and old leather kind of waft out. And he says, well, you know, people were more superstitious back then. Thought she was a witch. Well, there are those who will sell their soul. They sell it for drugs. They sell it for money. They sell it for the sins of the flesh. But the devil don't work like it does in the old, the old stories. Old Scratch isn't standing on a crossroads offering you a banjo so you can be the greatest banjo player in the world. No, the devil works more subtle than that. And he's pulled down a book. He says, young Dominique, though, she was an odd one. Say she could hear voices. Said she could talk to the dead. Folks around here back then, they took that right serious. Sometimes you'd have folks talk to the dead, and they say it's a gift from God. Didn't nobody think that God was giving gifts to Dominique, though. And he opens up this book, and it's listing down names, and he flips through to where he finds her name. And you can see it's the family history for that family, the Pascal. And you can see that there is no names following Dominique. The family ends there. You can see the dates of birth and death. And you could see where Dominique is listed as having died when she was 19. And that would have been when she, the year fits with when she was supposed to have gone out into the swamps. But we do see, amongst all of the alive and, the death dates, there's a name right above hers. Marais. Must have been her brother. Would easily be 95 now. But there is no death date on him. I'm going to shift us over to our 2 in the Cadillac. 3 in the Cadillac, because Zobelia's driving. And she's just tearing through the swamps. And driving through, down the roads, and it takes probably 30, 40 minutes. She's keeping up a kind of happy little chat, seems almost excited to be on this adventure. And Silence, you could see she just is, this is something new and exciting to her. She's, feeling young again, sort of thing. And the radio's playing these 50 songs, and she'll be singing along with it, as y'all are driving. Cody, I'm guessing you're in the back seat.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What are you doing?
I think he's probably sort of tuned out a little bit. He'll kind of chip into conversation when it, if anything specifically directed his way. But yeah, he's obviously quite tired by this point, but still obviously just not sleeping. So he's just a bit sort of spaced out. He'll probably join in singing along with some of the songs as well, absently,
She seems delighted by that. She's really, and as she hears you singing along, the two of you kind of harmonize together a little bit of, Blue Suede Shoes.
Yeah.
As Silence, what are you doing?
Sorry, was that to me?
Yes.
They're not looking at Sibilia. They kind of don't want to look at Sibilia right now. They're just looking outside. Like, they know all these songs, but they're not going to sing along.
Gotcha. And so as we reach a turnoff, she'll turn up this driveway, and we see there's a mailbox there that says the Deschamps. And you have to go over a bridge, as you see, over the swamp, and it's, you know, old wooden bridge, and she slows down to go over this thing because it don't look in great shape. It as you go across, and you drive up, and the trees sort of split, so that you see this old and kind of shabby, but still sort of magnificent old plantation house. The Deschamps family has lived here for generations. And as she drives up, you see her face kind of go, you know, it's been a long time since I visited the Deschamps. This house, oh, I remember when I was a little girl, oh, they still used to have parties out here. And when it was lit up, at times I thought it was like heaven. So many beautiful things. People dressed in such pretty clothes. It's sad to see old things start to break down.
I think I get out of the Cadillac and I motion Cody and I say, "You stay here, Sabia Simone, and if anything happens, you will drive as far away as you can and warn the others."
All right, sir. I'll keep myself out of trouble.
Thank you.
The two of you get out, and it's quiet. You don't hear any of the, there's no stirring in the house. Though I'm going to kind of go off the idea that Silence, because of your nature, you have really good senses. And you can hear inside of the house, just very faintly, the sound of a woman singing. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. But it's way back in there. And Cody, I don't think you quite can hear it.
No, that's fair.
What you do, Silence?
I think I bring up a finger to Cody and just open the door, as it's probably going to do a big horror haunted house creaking noise.
Yeah.
Typical.
Looking in, this house, again, was once magnificent. And even in its kind of falling apart days, when you look in, there's paintings of the family in this entryway foyer. There's a beautiful stairway, a split stairway that wraps up to the second floor. The furniture is beautiful and still very well polished and old. And as the door opens, Cody, you can sort of hear this singing as well. And as the song reaches its end, there's this sort of like hiss, click, and then the song begins again. What do you do, Cody?
Well, I guess we better go check that out if they was listening to music. And I'm guessing that's where at least some of them were when they was taken, or whatever you want to call it. And he's going to start moving towards the sound of the record player.
You begin walking back, your footsteps on the hardwood floor. Silence behind you, though. I'm betting, Silence, you make no noise at all as you walk, do you?
As the name says.
Moving back past the stairway to this double doors that are closed. And you can see on these doors blood streaks, very much like handprints that have clawed at this door. Blood all over it. But it's closed. And inside, you can hear the music.
I'm gonna take position, like kind of go in front of Cody, and just kind of quietly say, "Prepare to run."
Yeah, this ain't gonna be good.
And I'm gonna open the door.
You reach down, and as you touch it, something, it's almost like a static shock. But there's something holy that you feel there. Something, the presence of faith. As you turn the knob, the door opens. You see this parlor. The furniture has seen better days, but it's beautiful. There's an old Victrola sitting there, and playing from it, it's the strains of Amazing Grace. You see, just inside the doorway, there's a line of salt. And as you look to either side, you see this salt has wrapped all the way around the walls of this room. Sitting in the middle of the room in an overstuffed chair is an old woman. She is slumped over, her breathing very shallow. But as the door opens, she looks up. And she recognizes you, Silence. Lord, you've come for me. I wasn't going to let him take my soul. What do you do,
Who are
Silence?
them? Who's them?
She came. She came and seduced my boys. She came. She turned them into terrible things. But I wasn't going to let him take me.
I walk forward into the room, past the salt, and not comfort her. No, I'm just kind of standing in front of her and just say, "You mean the handmaiden?"
What'd you say?
The handmaiden.
A witch. Witch. But what was inside her was a devil straight from hell. She came out of the water. Cody, what are you doing? You muted it.
Yeah, he's probably. I think Cody's going to be hanging back still. He won't have crossed the salt line. He probably will be kind of keeping sort of an eye out in case something tries to jump them. Though the majority of his attention will be on the room. He's probably quite distracted by the music as well.
If you would be so kind, roll me just a sharp. This isn't going to be a full move. I'm just having you roll me a sharp to see if you notice something.
That's not suspicious at all.
That's a 13.
Oh, fantastic! You're keeping an eye out. You're watching Silence as he's moved, or as they've moved up to this woman, and you look down the hall towards the back of the house. And at the back of the house, there's this large glassed area with big French doors. And you see that girl just on the other side of the door looking at you. She smiles. Come here, Cody. Come here, Cody. And you feel that burning in your leg and you feel this draw towards her. Unless you'd like to go to her, I need you to act under pressure. If you'd like to go to her, then no problem.
I will try not to. In fact, Cody is going to start singing along with Amazing Grace. So I'm just
excellent
looking for.
I think I'll give you a +1 situational for that.
Oh, thank you. Act under pressure. Cool. Right. Yeah. Thought so. It doesn't. That makes it a 10.
Excellent. You stop yourself from going. You hold yourself from that compulsion. What do you say? Do you say anything to silence? You're singing? What do you say?
No, I don't think I would do say anything. I think he will just keep singing. He'll sort of essentially Sarah is staring at her, but he's singing. He does also, as he's singing, it's clear he is practiced at singing sort of choral music.
So he has a beautiful voice. I love that. As this old woman is looking at you, Silence, and she goes, "Someone's at the door." And we're going to cut back over to the church where the old priest is going through it. Says, "Oh, there she is, Allison. You see, she was, well, we put down that she passed, though no one ever found her body. Turner, you're there looking at this, and you certainly have noticed that name that doesn't have a death date on it. Anything you want to say or anything you'd like to do at this point?"
Yeah, I have a few questions to ask. I turned to the priest and said, "Father, sorry for asking, but do you have a map of the town?"
"Oh, well, yeah. We have,
okay.
Yeah, no problem at all."
Good. Once he gives me the map, I open it. I turned to Allison and said, "Allison, can you point out the locations of the house that was killed by this woman?"
Just so I know, where are you asking her to point out? Where this
the locations of the families that got turned into zombies.
The Duchamps. Okay.
And the families that were not, that was lost.
Gotcha. All the ones that the reporter had talked about. Okay, cool. And Allison, you can lay them out. And again, one thing you notice on all of them, they have rivers and rather good-sized tributary creeks that run next to them.
I turned to the priest and said, "Father, once you see these locations, are those families were the only owners of these houses? I mean, those houses were passed generation to generation?"
"Oh, well, most of them. Well, over here, the Champs." And he says, "But now this one," and he points at one she's pointed out. They're fairly newcomers. They moved here, I guess, 15, 20 years ago. Wanted to rough it. Been in Baton Rouge all their lives."
Nice. Okay, here's the final question. Can you remember when that girl went missing? Well, before she was missing, and the town was suspected of her witching. Probably families accused her, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did the locations on the map, did they contain those families that accused her?
He sort of narrows his eyes a little bit, and yeah, well, the Duchamps were the first ones to say that she was a witch. They said she tried to seduce one of their sons.
All right. Okay. Oh, nice. Can you point out the rest of the families who accused her? Maybe the most harshest ones.
He says, "Well, sure." And he says, "Well, you know, that's most of them. But, and he points to this. His map that he's showing you is probably 100 years old. It's like 1901. But you can see that there's laid out a really nice farm. Says, well, the Beaumonts, when the town started getting riled, it was old man Beaumont. I think that's what I said, who had really gotten everybody involved. He was a big man in this area. You know, he kind of looks down. He was leader of the clan around here, and he also kept up with, you know, the politics of town. Well-to-do. He's the one that, well, went and riled up the town. Of course, terrible thing happened to him. Fell in a wheat thrasher. Oh, tore him to bits. And then that poor boy of his got sick, terrible sick. Swole up like a bullfrog, he did. Oh, he passed away in terrible pain. They say that, you know, his mama, well, she just went crazy after that. They ended up locking her up, you know, up in the asylum.
Are any of them still, is the mom still alive?
Oh, I wouldn't think so now. She'd have to be 120.
Yeah. Let's cross that option.
Okay. The old place is probably just falling apart now. Nobody went back to live there. You know, sort of thing people don't want to be around when somebody get caught in a thrasher. You know, that sticks in people's memory. I bet the swamp done swallowed it up by now.
Oh, really? That's cute. Okay. So
Pete, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Pete, anything you want to
Did we find out about, was it Marais was written next to that?
You did not.
Okay, so yeah. I guess what about this here Marais? What's his story?
Oh, Marais. He's tough as old leather. 96 by now. I go out and tend to him every month or so. I try and go and give him a chance for confession and make sure he gets communion. Tough old guy though. He still tends his own farm.
Would you be able to point that out on the map here?
Oh, certainly. He points down. He says, now, I warn you, if you want to go talk to Marais, you better yell from the gate. He usually comes out with his rifle.
Smart man.
Well, unless there's anything else I can help you with. And we are hitting the end of our time. So I think I'm going to wrap us. I will say, since we're in the church, and when we start next time, if there's anything y'all want to pick up from a church when you happen to be in it, which may be something, there might be something useful you could get from a church, considering our situation. I'll prompt us with that, but we'll be leaving out of the church with our information when we start up next time. I'm going to end our session, I think, going back to the plantation house. As this old woman has looked up at you, Silence. Someone's at the door.
Sorry, can you repeat that? Internet dropped.
Someone's at the door.
I think Silence is going to turn towards the door, and then I will meet them then.
You turn back, and you can see Cody. And I think for us, the swelling of the music is we have Cody's voice, which is surprisingly beautiful. And we have you, Silence, as you, I'm guessing you're stepping out into the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And you step out, and at the other end of this hallway, you can see the girl. And as you're watching, she steps forward, and the door is just on their own open. She looks down towards you, Silence. The music is filling this house, Cody's voice, and the sound of this woman singing. And she says, "You cannot stop us. You want this to happen, don't you? Angel, it's time. Come on. We can do this together." And she reaches out towards you. And that's where we're going to stop. If folks are willing, do we feel like y'all have like, say, 10 minutes or so we could do a quick stars and wishes? Are people okay with that? If not, that's perfectly fine.
I actually have to go
Okay.
pretty soon, but I don't have a lot to add there other than that everyone is very great and I'm loving it.
Wonderful. And just so, since you're leaving, we're coming to our last one. Is there something you'd kind of like to see from your character or from the story for our big wrap up? Is there some high points you'd really like to get in?
I think all the ingredients to hit what I want are in place. So I think that however it turns out, it'll be good.
Excellent. All right. Well, Skylar, we'll be back again next week, and I will see you then. And if you want to drop, that's perfectly fine. If other folks want to sit around a second, I'll get a stars and wishes out of y'all. And but if you don't mind, I would like to. Bye, Skylar. Have a great week. I would like to grab a bio break just for a second.
Sure.
So why don't we take let's take 4 minutes. We'll come back at 4:05, and while we're breaking, if you'd like, you could put your speakers on. Here's the song for us. But back in 4 minutes. Well, David, I saw that perhaps you had a little bit less of a success there than we thought.
Yes, yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna screw with what we did as our timeline, but I do think I'm going to give you a -1. That we're going to say a -1 ongoing while we're in this situation.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay. So all I want to do is just this very quickly because I don't want to keep us over for very long. But I would like to kind of give a chance for a quick stars and maybe here, since we're going to have our last one, something that you'd really like to see maybe for your character, something out of the story you'd really like to hit in that last one. So I'm going to start with you. Let's start from this, and I always start at that end. So how about you, Ibars? Any stars you'd like to give out on the session, and what you'd like to see for Turner coming up?
For stars, I think I will give to both Allison and Cody, because they were really into their characters, and also you, because I do really like the tone of your voice. It really suits the game.
Thank you.
For my character, myself, it's okay. For the character, I think I'm really quite happy with now that Turner sees the supernatural events, and I think he is much more involved with the group. He makes the plans. He tells people some really good options to consider. For the game itself, I'm a bit more interested to see a side of the, a hidden side of our adversaries that we didn't see, like why are they doing this? Because if you can see, I requested a map. Maybe she was on a vendetta sort of thing, and she probably is. So that kind of stuff really interests me. It's not like we are good guys and they're the bad guys and we're gonna kill them, blah blah blah. It's too dull for me. So even if there's a double bluff into this, so maybe she has a double agenda, or one of us has a double agenda. I don't know. That could be interesting. That could be really interesting to see.
Cool. I like that idea. I have some things playing up there. I did kind of play a little into that possible double agenda we have from Silence, and I was glad you brought up that map. That was honestly, I sort of improv'd into that because I think it's a cool idea. So I want to play into that, and I think we'll see a little depth out of her. I think we're going to see something here in this last one, but I'll keep that in mind and try and work towards that. David, stars and maybe a wish for Cody.
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, again, fairly. I think it was really good. Everyone enjoyed everyone tonight. I loved Alison's like switches between sort of pragmatism and then the really out there conspiracy stuff is really good today. I thought that was perfect. I loved Turner getting into being sort of the straight man essentially, and sort of going, hang on a minute, we actually need to work out what we're doing here. What are you all doing? I thought that was perfect and worked out really nicely. Silence as ever, perfectly creepy and effective. And yeah, I really liked the obviously all your the characters are all really great and really catch that sort of Southern Gothic feel. I think perfect. Especially I really like the whole backstory with her, because that again just feels like perfect for that sort of Southern Gothic, actually it probably wasn't her fault in the first place sort of thing. And yeah, I like that a lot. It's cool. In nice parallels with Cody's situation as well, which I think is nice. Wishes, yeah, I think to be honest, it's similar to what people say. I think kind of everything is on track to do what sort of I like. What I think the character's sort of arc is fitting in quite nicely with what's happening already. So I think that's there's nothing in particular I want to see done other than more of the same, really.
Cool, awesome, thank you very much. Leandro, stars and perhaps a wish for Silence.
I really love that we got to see like different wrinkles with each character, like Turner stepping up and being the not fuck up in this group of fuck ups, and just taking command. I did love that. Allison finally getting to like talk about conspiracy theories and being like, oh, there's a reason why she was into this, because they're kind of cool and interesting. And I love like Cody got to have a sensitive side. Like they're afraid of being possessed by these demons, despite the fact that they're already possessed by something. And yeah, I love they got to see the vulnerability. And I like that we also got a bit of vulnerability from Pete by threatening his car or his truck. And yeah, he kind of seems like he's almost like an inverse of his cousin, that he's almost as put together, kind of like just a crack version of his cousin, which we did not plan for at all at the start. And it's really cool that came organically. I really love that. And again, I think I mentioned in the session, I want to see how many variations of Southern can Tyler pull off. Turns out it's a lot. So, and it's really good. Wishes. Originally, I wanted just specifically to get into an argument with Turner. I feel like there's a seed there that could blow up. But now with this final scene, I don't know if people will look. I have a week to figure out what choice to make, but I do kind of want to be almost at odds with everyone else. We're at the final session. Yeah, I think, yeah, whatever choice Silence makes, I do want, because we're at the end of the session, we might as well go out at a bit of a dramatic bang. I do want to be put at odds with the rest of the PCs to an extent.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
excellent. Thank you. Noella, stars and perhaps a wish for Allison.
Again, everybody did great. Some really interesting sides to the characters, both seeing like Turner being both very pragmatic, and also I was surprised how well he took all the supernatural stuff. Like, it's like, okay, we're rolling with it now. With Cody, it's like he feels like he's a normal kid who has gotten into like a really bad situation. And I think that really came through this time, especially with the singing at the end. It's like, oh, he actually, like, he probably trained that, but now he's cursed, in a manner of speaking. And then Silence, we definitely, it's interesting because we saw like a side of them that was like, I think the apathetic side, like not rushing into the zombie fight right away, and then the choice they're gonna have to make. And I think it seems cruel to the rest of us, but I think it's just more of like, cosmic apathy. And Tyler, as always, you did a fantastic job. I love Zobelia's Cadillac. I had a really great time doing the questioning of the reporter, and I not to toot my own horn, but I felt really proud of the way that I handled that in terms of just like getting all the new info in there, and like kind of making the girl into like a real person who was once alive and not just like a specter in the woods. And wishes, I guess, kind of to see the group come back together as one unit, either kind of out in the swamp, like are we going to have to go rescue them, or at some other location, and kind of see how all the different threads tie together. And I would also like to see like how Zobelia reacts to Silence's choice.
Excellent. Thank you. My stars, first off, all of you were phenomenal. Ibars, I really liked that kind of you are a person of action, or, well, Turner is a person of action. I don't know you well enough. You might charge into fights like that too. But Turner certainly is a man of action. It was neat to see. It was cool that he kind of was that take charge. I thought that worked well in a group that we have a lot of oddness in our group. So to have someone who kind of kept us focused, I thought that was really cool. Cody, you continue, or David, you continue to do amazing things with that character, I think. There keep being these cool levels to him. And I like how you lean into a lot of the things I'm giving out. You're always so generous with how you play that character, and I am so delighted by it. I can't say enough about what you're doing, Leandro, with Silence. I honestly, that character blows me away. I love the kind of stoic minimalism of the emotion you put out, and yet we've made so many emotional hooks into Silence that you play so well as well. The things you do with Zobilia are wonderful to me. I love how that character is coming out, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things end up at this end, because you stated all along, it's I'm working towards the end days. It's not I'm trying to stop the end days. It's I'm working toward the end days. And that's a strong character choice. And I think we're going to come to a beautiful head. I think that there are good things to come from that. And Noelle Alston just keeps getting better and better. You keep embodying this character so nicely. She's sweet, but at the same time, she's smart and you know, is going in to find out these things. The points of vulnerability are so nicely offset by, like, when you're talking to that reporter and you're practical and driving things. When you're with that priest, you're getting to the information. And then we see these moments when there's so much more vulnerability. And I think that scene with you and Cody up in the bedroom was, oh my God, so good. So good from both of y'all. So I love what y'all are doing for stars. Wishes, I do want to hit that emotional finale for you know, we've got Zobilia and Silence and this girl, and, you know, lurking in the background is this demon of the end time. I want to see that come to a head. I have a couple of ideas. I look forward to seeing how it works, because, you know, I want to improv it. And to drop back to a start, y'all gave me so much this time, Noella and Ibars, the two of you, because I had not come up with, I left space for what the girl was like. And so that ended up being brought out. We, you know, because it was asked, I had to come up with something. And I loved how all the prompts you gave me led to something really neat. I loved how, Ibars, you brought out that map to say, okay, well, what was going on here? And, you know, and that made me say, okay, well, yeah, then you know, there has to be some logic to it. Let's figure that out. All of that worked so well. So for my wishes, I want us to have that satisfying, okay, this makes some sense. I want it to have that emotional pull of something dramatic and huge happens. And who knows, it could be the end of days. I mean, we could end with the apocalypse occurring. But I think there's neat things to come out there. I want to have Cody have a moment where there's a turning point, a choice for Cody. I want there to be that where we're going with Silence. I want to give Turner an opportunity to kind of show the leader and the good person he is in this situation. Because we've seen that harsh exterior. I want us to see that heart, the goodness that lurks beneath. Because that was something of the character that I think is so nice. I like the layers of that. And I definitely want to see Allison's kind of coming into this knowledge and, you know, all these things she had thought were true. There's now this evidence that there really is these things, and that opportunity for her to kind of step and be this strong person. I want that moment. I want that chance, because we've seen her growing. I want to see that big blossom. And for Pete, I think Pete has done a great job. I didn't give a star But I should say, I think that Skylar's doing a great job with that character. It's really nifty, really interesting. And I want to give an opportunity to give him those choices of, is he the fixer that Daryl was? Is he not that man? Is he just not able to do that? I want to give him that breaking point as well. So those are kind of my wishes to go forward. Also want to make sure I'm spreading that spotlight so everybody's got a chance to get something off for the last one. We will probably hard frame a little more in that one. We will probably try and push our scenes. I want to give everybody opportunity to do stuff, but I do want us to get to our conclusion. So I've tarried y'all over, and I apologize terribly for that. For folks that are watching, watch more. And we will, I'm going to stop the broadcast now.